The next-gen Tata Tiago. Dual-tone interior, dual smartphone deck but wireless charger, blind view monitor, pakiway. Tek kum ki kaliram, hagador ko bajam, tak sao point rewlak. Just wow.
The all-new Banalari Nexa showroom is now open at Mauyong Rim near ISBT. Explore premium Nexa cars, book your favorite, and take a test drive. Nexa. Create, inspire.
Together we achieve, together we can fly, reaching for the sky.
ICFA University, Meghalaya.
Dr. Mukul Sangma walong ulong ilam kaliang persya ha kayeng dobat hawan ha ka arpoetrik unailar arjar penriu ulatay pop ya ka Sorkar jela Halor ka Jingsynjor ka Shongsuk Shongsaiñ ha ka nong ba Shillong hadien ka jengkelong ka KSU ya ka rally ra lamayong ka balalam ru sya ka jengkawang petrol bom bat ka jengsha wyang ding ki kali Sorkar ha ka leng ka rilum khasi bat jantia haba keren sakilat patai kubur Mukul Sangma ulong bakini jingja kim desu ki besuja senden rei ki ja nama ki jingsa teng ki jingdawa balapan sngu da ki seng balang ya ki bala susngap menti dak Sorkar jela ha ka baidei bag jingsa khang ki kali ha khapur ka Assam bat Meghalaya Mukul Sangma ulong bakini ki jingja kamlong satya ka bapan sotunan ya ka jela da ka bakentui ki paiba ban penne ya ka Shongsuk Shongsaiñ Mukul Sangma ulong bag jingja ka belaja ha ka khat khandai trek unailar aja arpun riu amdei ban pet kum ka jinge kan ala preki kan hot jan bin riu henry ka dei bait na ka jing bam simkhya jong Sorkar ban shemi kila jinge dag babiang shwa banja ki no jingja ki bas kusi.
If you look at the incident and the genesis, how the culmination till the day when the incident took place, it is see we have been confronted by challenges in the past when issues are being raised in the best interests of the people in the state by various stakeholders and particularly civil society organizations representing the people, the stakeholders. It is important for government to take cognizance of every issue. Now, therefore, whether the government was not in a position to understand the magnitude of the kind of frustration and anger that will ultimately be the end result of government's insensitivity to those issues when they were being flagged before the government. That is one part. Now, the day of the incident, is it not possible for the government to know what is going to happen? It's a complete failure of the government. It's a complete failure of the government. Now, if a permission has been issued for organizing a rally, was it not necessary to give advisory to the public as well? You see? Based on whatever inputs the government has all the necessary government machineries to have all kinds of inputs. And therefore, accordingly, put in place all measures which is capable of ensuring that things, what has happened, would not have happened. So it's a failure of the government. Yes, I am sorry to say that. Yeah, it's a failure of government. But at the same time, it is also very important for us to know that as an aftermath of that incident, the overall, I must say, the fallout of that incident. I think it is also very important not to give this incident that kind of picture which has a ramification in a very different angle. It is not a conflict between the people of Meghalaya and people of Assam. It is an unpleasant incident that has happened because of failure of the state government of Meghalaya. You see? But then, as you see, what is happening till now as we speak, I think there is, you have to be very careful because we are in an era where the media spreads like anything. Not the conventional media, the social media. It's an era of social media. Therefore, utmost precaution has to be taken by any government of the day to ensure that, okay, any incident which has got the potentiality of creating a different kinds of interpretation is taken cognizance of and dealt with effectively. Have you seen that coming from the government? Till now, I haven't seen. I'm sorry. The only thing I have seen is that, okay, law will take its own course. They don't have to tell about how the law will take its own course. It's a natural course. It is the easiest thing to say for any government. Law will take its own course. But who prevented the government from taking cognizance of the seriousness of these issues that was flagged by the civil society organizations to draw the attention of the government? See, that's exactly what I am referring to. You have to read between the lines. Government has all the necessary government machineries to have all the necessary inputs under any given situation. And all these government machineries must be activated accordingly. And because you have activated the government machineries, therefore, I have every reasons to believe that you will have all the kinds of necessary inputs to know what is the likelihood of a situation, the fallout, if any. And that is one part. But another part is the power of anticipation. As to what can happen. It is necessary for any government of the day to understand the likelihood of any this kind of situation when such a rally is being organized. And this rally to protest against the insensitivity of the government, where the frustration has become anger. The anger has resulted in rebellion. Have I not said it number of times in the August House itself? In the last assembly I have said, there is no space for government to be complacent. Don't take things for granted. These are the exact words I have used in the House in the last assembly. Then after that, what happened in Garwal, you have seen it. Now you're seeing it in Shillong. And the ultimate fallout. Therefore, you see, what I can see, and based on my analysis, is that the people in government have missed priorities. That is very dangerous in a democracy. Because everyone who has the responsibility of governance must understand the priority. You see, they're busy in other priorities. That's why this unfortunate incident, damaging the peaceful environment of the state and the region. And at the same time, I would like to appeal to all concerned that whatever incident has taken place on the 19th must not be given the kind of perception which should revolve around as an incident because of the conflict between different communities. It shouldn't be. It is something which has happened because of, as I have said, because of the adequate preemptive measures that was not taken by the government. Aspect of the various provisions which are mandated by the Act. Now, how the provisions of, how ILP operates, inner line permit. Now, the engagement has always been as an interim arrangement which should suffice for the interim period as an effective legislative tool to deal with this uncontrolled influx into the state and the illegal immigration. You see? Now, in addition to that, you have various other laws which regulates the actual process of giving rents for the people who ask rentals in their rented houses, so that the localities, the the Rangbasnongs will be in the knowledge of who is going to come and stay in whose house as tenants. Now, this law has also indirectly, therefore, to give the kind of, I must say, power by the mandate of law has put that very legislative mandate, empowering the headmen, empowering the traditional institutions, which otherwise was not there before. You see, you remember that another judgment by one of the judges of the Honorable High Court was there, and then that created lots of problems. Questioning the the authority of the headman in this in Khasils. So these are the things which were also addressed by this particular legislation, and the overall mechanism is such that along with the government agencies like the police in their respective jurisdiction of the police stations, the traditional institutions play the role equally, so that there is no space for any kind of likely manipulation to enable anybody to sneak in and then be a tenant in any locality. So complete involvement of the traditional institution, that is there. Now, as we embarked upon implementation of this program post enactment of the law, what was happening was that these traditional institutions who will be therefore required to fulfill their responsibilities as per the mandate of the law will have to also be supported, because there are lots of it's more like maintaining an office specific to fulfill the objective of the act itself. So along with the government agencies, you also have the traditional institutions who represent the public, the people. And in addition to that, every block, you will remember that we have sanctioned around, if I'm not wrong, I think it was 39 posts of, the post of labor inspectors, because it is connected. They are all connected with your migrant worker, etc., etc. All these type of things are there. So every district task force, of course, they were notified. The DC is the chairman of the district task force. So partly it is operational, but it is not fully operational, and it is as is where is basis till now. The government is lying. And do you think people are so novice not to know their lies? You see, you know that the what is the background? Why is this particular act, enacted? Meghalaya Residence Safety and Security Act 2016. We all know the reason. It's an act as an interim mandate provided through a piece of legislation by the state legislature itself, pending Government of India's agreement or for that purpose to put in place the so-called ILP, based on the your Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873. Now, you have seen that there were a number of such educational programs preceding the enactment of MRSSA 2016, demanding the implementation of ILP in the state of Meghalaya. It is a fact. But based on the reality that we didn't want to shy away from our responsibility, and we didn't want to lie to the people when we were in the helm of affairs of governance. So what did we do? We engaged in exhaustive discussion, engagement, involving all the stakeholders, the civil society organizations who were spearheading this movement to prevail upon the government for implementing the provisions of the Eastern Frontier Regulation 1873 and implement and put in place ILP. Okay. So we did lots of exhaustive due diligence and engagement with Government of India during my time, and I knew that Government of India would be reluctant to implement ILP during our time. So why should I lie to the people? So we said that let us have something which is within our legislative jurisdiction of the state legislature. And based on that, as lawmakers, within that limited legislative jurisdiction that is available with the state legislature, we enacted this act. But this act is to a great extent capable of dealing with the concerns of our people in as far as the dealing of the uncontrolled influx into the state. And that is the reason why everybody agreed to, at least call off all those educational programs pertaining to the demand for ILP, and agreed to jointly engage in implementation of this mandate of the Act. What was the actual involvement? Then the members of the civil society organizations were drawn in identifying all these entry-exit points, required parcel of lands for installing an establishment of the facilitation centers, which becomes part and parcel of the different components of the mandate of the Act in as far as its implementation is concerned. But today this government has diluted the whole application of the mandate of the law, thereby betraying the people. The reason is therefore lack of trust, lack of faith pertaining to the intent of the government by the people, and that's what is being manifested in the state. Without really I must say going section by section or para by para of the whatever legislative exercise was done by the Honorable Parliament as proposed by the government. Now, in as far as any act of law, particularly pertaining to the subject concerned, the government has to take the parliament into confidence in respect to any new legislation or amendment thereof. Now, based on the wisdom of the House, this has been amended. That is one part. But in as far as its application is concerned, I think Meghalaya is that way as a state. You have seen the past. There were quite a substantial engagement with Government of India. Government of India definitely wanted exploration of uranium in the state. This became an issue. There were opposition, not just opposition, but very, very strong opposition from the stakeholders, from the people, from different civil society organizations pertaining to the mining activities of uranium. So that remained as a contentious issue for a long, long time. But during the time when I had the privilege to lead the government, taking cognizance of the sentiment of the people, we engaged with Government of India, the then Government of India, and we prevailed that in as far as Meghalaya is concerned, this is the sentiment of the people, and we would like to take cognizance of the sentiment of the people and the opposition thereof to this proposal, and therefore let us have that stand which is in sync with our proposal to take cognizance of the sentiments of the people and respect them, and then therefore there was a mutually agreed stand. Therefore it wasn't something which became unpleasant during my time. Okay. Now, therefore, having known this sentiment, government has always a reason to believe that, okay, let us send a strong message that this particular sentiment is still on record, because government may change. When we say government change, means it's only the people who change. People who sit on the seat of the authority only change, but the government doesn't change actually. Meghalaya government, the writing path will be always Government of Meghalaya only. So, Government of Meghalaya, there is a continuity. Only the person who shoulders the responsibility only changes. That is the spirit of democracy. So therefore, the stand of the government must be in continuity, which is in sync with the sentiment of the people. So that is how I would like to put. And at the same time, I must say, you see, we are in at a time when the whole global community is facing a challenge in energy sector, which is unprecedented. And this challenge in energy sector is a reality and going to remain before us. With all those options coming, your electric vehicle, etc., and the exploration to look at viable alternative on renewable energy, etc. So, and at the same time, the global conflict and the ramification thereof. It is going to be a problem. Unpredictability of the future is one part. Therefore, there is a reason for the governments, both state and union government, to look at how we take care of our energy requirements. But in as far as India is concerned, and as far as the technology is concerned, technologies have evolved, and therefore today there are many alternatives available before the nation. It's a good thing. Government doesn't have to depend only on uranium anymore, because government has now many alternatives and also the available technology to harness those other available alternatives. That is the good thing. So this whole legislation that has been given effect to become an amended act by the parliament, I think we'll have to also look at from various other perspectives, not only from one single perspective. You see, every political party will be confronted by challenges, foreseen, unforeseen, element of surprises, and that's a natural thing, because at the end of the day, there are two things which happens naturally. Sometimes things happen unnaturally also, and I think I should be blunt in sharing that, but today, the way the whole political dynamics are unfolding across the nation, this is something abnormal, which is unprecedented. Why I'm saying abnormal is that it has never been seen before, Now we are talking about the overall political scenario based on that something which is unusual and abnormal political scenario that has unfolded after the last assembly election. Now, obviously that abnormal political situation that we have been witnessing has affected the Trinamool Congress. Okay. Now, see, we are in a democracy where we take pride, and the strength of the nation comes from our federal structure. You see. But when we look at the abnormal situation today, state politics is different. The mandate in an election for electing a government in the state, the mandate will have its own limited mandate in a state. But in a general election a national election, parliamentary election, the mandate is different. Mandate is determined by how much majority is given for any political party. Just simple majority, 2/3, or absolute majority, the mandate speaks for itself. The moment the mandate speaks for itself means whether the party in power who have received that kind of mandate will be confined to the hand of affairs of governance within the framework of the constitution, or they have been given mandate even to amend the constitution. You see? So that is how it is different. Why I'm saying it is abnormal post-state election, you have never seen MPs shifting party. But today, unfortunately in this country it is happening. It is abnormal political phenomenon that has been unfolded, and it is dangerous for the nation. Now that is one part. And in the process, what you have seen members of the parliament belonging to TMC shifting party, members of the legislative assembly belonging to TMC shifting party. That means the party TMC as a party is facing a storm, and when the family faces a storm, then the members of the family should stand united, and that's not the time when members of the family should run away. You see, and that is what Dr. Mukul will subscribe. Let me be frank and honest. They don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing. I can only share this with great concern, because it is not something which augurs well for the state. Because you look at the overall negative ramification of what is happening with the kind of perception that is being generated and amplified by the kind of narrative and conversation. That is very dangerous. That is very dangerous, and it has got that kind of potentiality to create unnecessary, damage to the name and fame and brand of the state of Meghalaya. The reputation of the state, and the ramification on the peaceful environment in the region, across the interested border. This is what you are seeing. And therefore, it is very necessary, important for the government also to take cognizance of the overall, the situation that's unfolding and which is not actually really something which is comfortable to watch. And I expect the government respond to the situation with utmost sense of responsibility, with utmost demonstration of their competence, and utmost sense of priority of addressing issues.
Nadunay kahit kan.
Bay là tông xoay ngà cái dia, phải cái smell the shit ko.
Ili mem yor ain gini kan me. Pai upon kelas tenu chong. Tangga college stage nem yo.
Let me just stage nem le tangga we kon web. Tito.
Ini kasi yang kayak bisa orang lain mana.
Oh, this lah.
Pinai wan ai bam snyai bam sien ai ta papacho. Families to that means. Right. For the
Ông use nem, you boy ya kamat do. Ute do chan bor and klep.
Bay pass your first division ah.
Kan, pasun kan.
Oh bay.
Congratulations kan.
Thank you bay.